on Crestline. Thanks for tuning in, and thanks for tuning in to a Christmas in July Extravaganza interview. Today we have with us David from Learn Christmas Lighting. Welcome on the show, David.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, Charlie.
Now, for folks that don't know, I always tell people there's three guys who do in front of camera consistent videos on the Christmas topic. That's you, me, and then Ken Spader. So I'm in rarefied air with you. You are a Christmas light extraordinaire. So for the folks who don't know, tell the folks who you are and what you got going on.
Oh, thanks, man. Well, that's quite a compliment to be up there with all the rest of you. But no, seriously, I enjoy Christmas lighting as much as the rest of you guys. Where I came from, some people like to know, is I came from the world of stage lighting. That's been my career, is doing shows. And I got into pixels, probably 4 or 5 years ago. I started working with a company that did pixels. And then I was like, well, let's do this Christmas light thing. It looks like fun. And lo and behold, the pixel technology that we used in the stage world is the exact same stuff that we're using here.
Okay.
We just use cheaper stuff on the house for Christmas lights,
Yeah.
And so, my main business is called Learn Stage Lighting, and I teach people about stage lighting. And as I began and really got into creating my first Christmas light show a few years ago, I really saw that I was like, you know what? I think I have a unique perspective that I could explain this stuff to people in a way that was really commonsensical and not from the perspective, not that it's a bad perspective, of the engineer or the software developer type, because I'm neither of those things. And that's what a lot of the other stuff out there is. And it's great. It's just I don't understand it, and I know other people don't either.
Right.
People that don't have that kind of mindset going on.
So what exactly do you specialize in on your YouTube channel, Learn Christmas Lighting? So you have two channels. You have Learn Stage Lighting and you have Learn Christmas Lighting. So what is it that Learn Christmas Lighting specializes in? If you had to describe the channel in a nutshell.
Oh, I would say, it's all about using pixels to make great Christmas lighting. Occasionally, I delve off into the non-pixel world a little bit, but my display's 90% pixels, and so that's what we talk about, and that's where I think most people are interested in learning.
Now, how long have you been animating lights, and how long have you had a Christmas show at your home?
Christmas show, I think the first one was 2017. So okay. 2017, 2018, 2019, yeah.
So, but you had a background in lighting, so were you already aware of how pixels work, so you could jump right in, or did you have to kind of teach yourself a little bit, or how did that work?
Yeah, it's funny. So there was a little bit of both, right? Because I had some pixel controllers and I had some pixels, and so I bought some Christmas light stuff, and there was a little bit of both. There was a lot of stuff that transferred over from stage lighting, especially getting the pixels to work, plugging them in, wiring them. But then there was a learning curve too. There's the software. There's the different controllers that are common in the Christmas light world, like the Falcons. And of course, the software like X-Lights and Vixen, which I'd never touched before. And it was like, it was a new thing for me, for sure.
Now you have a brand new, you just launched, which I'm a member of. You just launched the Learn Christmas Lighting Academy, which I would say takes guys like me who need to be taken back. Here's your Big Chief tablet. Here's your crayons. I'm going to teach you from that stage up because that's how I need to learn. So it works out perfectly for me. So I would describe your academy as someone who knows nothing and you can educate them from start to finish. How would you describe it?
Absolutely. So my goal with creating courses, all of them being within this one academy, which you're a member of, as you mentioned, is to have in one place a really well organized sequential, start to finish guide on creating a great Christmas light show. And that's not to say somebody can't jump in having done some stuff before with pixels and whatnot. And of course you've put displays on your house, just not with pixels. And so there's definitely people in it and people who will join who have those different experience levels, who might have done some stuff before, might have not. But what separates it from the YouTube channel is just the amount of depth. One of my goals with it, and it's basically just a copy of what I did with Learn Stage Lighting, is that we can have some paid courses which enable two things. One, it enables the paid course to be just the most excellent sequential, in order, sensical course out there on Christmas lighting. But then it also, frees up my time and gives me the resources to also make what I want. I want to make the best free videos out there on Christmas lighting as well. And so, it brings both worlds in to say, okay, we're going to have this, make it a course, make it something that's not free. And it should enable us to not only make that excellent, but also make the most excellent stuff on our YouTube channel that we possibly can, so we can help out everybody who's looking to get started with this stuff.
Now, who is your average customer for the Academy?
Yeah, so like I mentioned, we were talking, I think it was before we started, the Academy is new. We launched it and then closed registration so we could focus on building out the first course fully. And I would say the average customer, that we don't have like a massive amount of customers by any means, is somebody who is slightly educated about knowing that pixels are out there, knowing that they want to create a great Christmas light display, but then they've started to maybe read up on it or watch other stuff or check out other resources, and they've gotten overwhelmed. They say, well, this over here says this, and this over here says that, and I'm just looking for one place where it's really all together and just makes sense in one cohesive thought. And so that's definitely the kind of people that we've got in there. Mostly just average people, who want to do a cool display on their home, because making a Christmas light display, as is a bunch of fun. It's so much fun for yourself, your neighbors, your family, your whole community to be able to enjoy such a show, around Christmas time and sometimes Halloween and other holidays.
Yeah, I was talking to a coworker yesterday, and he's debating pixels or AC lights, and I said, you got to check out Learn Christmas Lighting. And he had questions about the Raspberry Pis and all these things I couldn't answer. I'm like, man, you need to get in the Academy. It's closed now, but it opens up. You need to get back in it, because the Academy to me, because I've watched most of your videos, the Academy to me is a more, like you said, in-depth how to, slows it down. This is exactly what you need to do. And it works out great for me, because that's how I process. That's how my brain works, is here's the baby steps. Okay, now let's get going faster. And I think right now, the video I'm stuck on, is because I haven't had time to do it, is where you sit down and you put your picture index lights of your home and you map everything out. That's the last one I have yet to do, just because I haven't had time, but busy at work. But I, for one, find great value in your Academy. So I appreciate you putting that on. Next question I have for you is kind of what do you wish you would do? What do you wish you knew now that you should have known then? Or what's the one thing someone that, if you could go back in time and say, hey, make sure you do this, what's that one thing?
Absolutely. I would say, learn first, buy second, for sure. I know my first year, and still a small part of my display is using the 5-volt pixels. And 5-volt pixels are fine, but it's one of those things in your display that, as you learn, if you really start to learn as to how these pixels work and how to make your life easier and stress-free, which is one of my goals with the site, is that 5-volt pixels don't make your life stress-free, because you can only go maybe 70 some pixels before you have to bring in more power. Whereas if you go with a 12-volt pixel, we're able to go much further. And so that's one thing I wish I knew, because that was what I did my first year. Was I had this whole mess of wiring to make it work right, and it's fine, and it's still part of my display, that portion. But I might redo it this year because it's just annoying. But
I know there's a difference between 5-volt and 12-volt, but that answers my questions about 12-volt. So 12-volt is you can provide more length of lighting lit cord with less power. Is that right?
Exactly. Not less power, but less power injection points, basically. Less bringing in new power. I have a video that I don't think it's on the site yet, but I was just working on publishing it earlier today, that really goes into the how and the why with that. Anytime, basically, in the world of lighting or electricity, that you can run something at a higher voltage level, it allows you to run longer cables that are thinner. And so that just makes your life easier. It's the same thing we do in the stage lighting world. We run things at the highest voltage we can because it just makes our life easier.
So what's the first thing for someone who's getting into pixels? They made the decision, I want pixels. What's the first thing they need to do?
Decide what they want their display to look like. Start to figure out, okay, am I looking at Facebook groups? Am I looking at pictures and videos of people's displays online? And figure out before you buy anything, like, what do you want this to look like? What kind of props do you want to do? Are you just going to be an outline kind of person? Are you going to do some coral props? Are you going to do some deer that you got from Lowe's and put pixels in? What do you actually want it to look like? Because if you've got that in your head, then it makes figuring out all the technical bits a whole lot more sensible, because you now know, okay, this is the end result that I'm going for. And as you learn the different steps, you can say, okay, I can see how this applies to what I want to do. Not saying that you can't change it later, add on, remove, whatever, but having a good idea of what you want to do as you begin learning, I think is really important and helps make it a lot less confusing.
And for the folks who don't know, what is a coral prop?
Yeah, so these are just corrugated plastic prop. Actually, just a hot second, I'll grab one.
Okay.
No, I won't. I put them away. But they're if you go to a website like Boscoyo Studio, that's Boscoyo, yep. Boscoyo Studio is one of the big makers of these things, but it's just corrugated plastic is basically like what political signs are made out of, kind of that. It looks like cardboard, but it's plastic, and they take a tougher version of this and they punch holes in it that you can put pixels in perfectly. And then they can be any shape, which is the cool part. So they can be stars, they could be snowflakes, candy canes, whatever. They can be any shape. And then the cool thing about it is because then, okay, you don't just have cool blinky lights, but you have cool blinky snowflakes or cool blinky trees or whatever shape you want. You really can do just about anything with it.
And that's one thing I'm kind of excited about. Should I ever fully make the switch over from AC to pixel, is like for my show, I think we had 80,000 lights up. With pixels, you don't need anywhere near that many of lights, do you?
No, that's the cool thing, is because each pixel, which we haven't really defined if people don't know what that is, but each pixel is just a light, an individual light that can do red, green, and blue, or mix those colors to make a lot of colors, pretty much anything except brown. And so that means that a single light can give off so many different emotions and feelings and really shape the feel of the display so much more, because the individual light can do so much more. And then each of these lights is then individually controllable, unlike a full strand of light where the strand is on, off, or maybe fading in and out. You get the ability to do that with each individual light. These are, right here. I mean, I've got some hanging right here, and each one of these can change colors, can be independent from each other, which is what makes them really powerful. Like you said, you get a lot more impact out of a single light.
Yeah, to me, that's just the neat part, is you can put anything up there. I mean, I tell people all the time, it's hard to do a heavy metal song with AC lights. You can't really do it if you want to, like for Halloween or something. But for pixels, the sky's the limit. You can pretty much do any song, anything. It's a lot more in depth. You have a lot more options, a lot more freedom, I think, with pixels than you do with AC lights. It's interesting.
Well, and two, if we compare the two, when we sit down to actually sequence or program our lights, it becomes a different world, because in the AC light world, you think a lot about turning strands on and off, and turning groups of strands on and off. Whereas in pixels, you grab an effect, which is basically a video, and you can put it on some of your lights, all of your lights, portions of lights, whatever. And so now you're not like, okay, which ones do I want on and off? You just go, hey, play this cool looking blue thing across my lights. And then it just plays it across all your lights. And so there's definitely efficiencies there too that allow you to do just really cool stuff. Once you learn how X-Lights or Vixen works, you're able to just drag effects in pretty quick, customize them a little, and you quickly have programmed every light in your display without having to think about, okay, turn this one on, turn this one off, turn this one that color, etc.
Yeah, it's time consuming to program an AC light show, because you're right. I have to turn every single strand on or off. I have to tell you what intensity to be. And with pixels, I think the max pretty much everybody goes is about 30% in strength. Is that about right?
So that's one thing we'll discuss, and we can talk about. On a standard pixel, that's the case. Most vendors are bringing in a pixel that's about 0.7 watts each, which is cool. One I do like to highlight is CFOL, Crockett Festival of Lights. They're actually in Knoxville, which is not that far from me. They bring in a pixel that's half that wattage, so you can run them at a higher percentage, which is kind of better, just because if you think about it, you get, it's a nuanced thing. I mean, not many people would notice it, but if you run the lights at 30%, then there's only so much resolution to fade up and down, and it can get a little steppy. Most people aren't going to notice it. Whereas if you do run like a lower wattage pixel, if it's half the power, you could run it twice as bright percentage-wise, and you would have more resolution to that up and down. Now, again, does anybody with their kids who's coming up to watch your display care? No, nobody's saying, hey, he's only running those at 30%. I can see the little buddy. Nobody says that, right? And so I think I like that they bring that in. They're one of many great pixel companies that sell pixels. I like that they do that, but at the same time, it doesn't really matter. Right.
David, where can people go to learn Christmas Lighting's channels and academies and everything?
Yeah, absolutely. So learnchristmaslighting.com is a great place to find everything. There, we've got articles on there and link to the YouTube where we get the videos. And then also, if you want to hop straight to the academy, we have a wait list for it for when it opens up next again, which should be in August, hopefully sooner. But, that means I just got to get the course out finished sooner, and I'm not going to open it up again until I'm really, really, really happy with it. Because I want it to be just super awesome and just really dialed in, meaning that when we get to the end of it and you yourself and others are going through it, there may be stuff that you say, I wish you went into a little more in depth there, and I'll go reshoot those parts, because we want to make it awesome for when we release it again. And so that is at learnchristmaslighting.com/wait, WAIT. We'll get you there.
Well, very cool. And I gotta ask you, I would be remiss if I didn't. You have a new little one. How's the family doing?
Oh yeah, so we got little Eli. We welcomed him into the world on, oh my goodness, January 8th. Terrible. And I mean, we're surviving. We got a baby in the house. I think you know what that's like.
I do.
Oh my goodness. You
have no sleep and a lot of fun, but little sleep, but.
Yeah, little sleep. I mean, not to be thankful for the current situation, the COVID one is what I'm referring to, of course.
Right.
But not needing to go anywhere for a couple months with a newborn was kind of a big blessing.
Right.
It's like, oh, we don't have to go anywhere. We don't have to do anything. We'll just stay home and just baby,
Right. That'll work out. So yeah, kind of let you stay home a little bit and spend more time there. Well, David, I appreciate you coming on the show. Like I said, I'm a huge fan of your work and of the academy. I'm learning a ton there. I highly recommend people go to learnchristmaslighting.com and check that out. I appreciate your time today. Thank you so much for coming on our Christmas in July Extravaganza series.
Awesome. Thanks, Charlie. Can't wait for December.